one's targeting those kids. You got targeted because you wanted to be, because you sought out the most eligible man and bachelor in the world.
She has gone into a homeless shelter minutes after doing that, like actually sincerely speaking to people who don't have a home to live in.
Yeah.
She is then putting up content showing her in a $1,500 jacket, you know, a similarly priced skirt.
The Duchess of Duplicity is back at it again. She stepped away from royal life, moved out to Montecito, and claimed she wanted peace and privacy. Then suddenly popped up in Australia with cameras rolling. Now we're breaking down 13 live moments from that tour Meghan Markle probably wishes stayed hidden. If there's one thing Meghan has locked down, it's looking flawless on camera. That Australian tour didn't just happen by chance. She showed up at Macaulay Community Services for Women, a place supporting women escaping serious hardship, smiled, posed, and the cameras ate it up. The world saw kindness, but missed what was really going on behind the scenes. That visit wasn't just about giving back. It doubled as a full-on photo op.
In suede, I mean, like honestly, and what she can get from this is 10 to 25% of the sale of each item. Now, she says that she's showcasing little known brands and bringing attention to fashion designers and that sort of thing, but this is an entirely commercial operation.
While those images were spreading everywhere, Meghan was also posting her outfits on a new fashion platform called One Off a Platform. Same photos, same moment, but now they're helping sell a $1,500 jacket and a suede skirt. And here's the bold twist. Back in 2020, the late Queen made it clear no using royal titles for business moves. Yet here comes Meghan, leaning into the Duchess name while on a tour that looked like charity but felt more like a curated shopping showcase. So Meghan walks into a youth mental health conference in Australia, a room filled with young people dealing with real anxiety, real struggles, real pain, and within minutes, yes, minutes, she somehow turns the spotlight onto herself.
Front-ending it with all the good works and that sort of thing, you know, all the nice hospitals, the homeless charities, the veterans, and then there's the commercial sting at the end. Or actually what Meghan's done is gone straight from homeless charity to uploading her clothes for sale, and she's getting commissions from this new...
Wait, did she really tell a group of vulnerable kids that she was the most trolled person in the world? Then followed it up by telling them to be stronger? That moment had people raising eyebrows fast. This is someone known for pushing back hard on negative press, with legal support ready when stories cross the line. Yet here she is talking about strength like it's simple. Meanwhile, those kids weren't in the headlines. They weren't being targeted, but suddenly they're hearing a story that shifts the focus away from their reality. Let's be real about how this came across. At one point, Meghan had massive public support, glowing headlines, and global attention. But things changed over time, and now that narrative is being retold in a room full of young people already dealing with serious issues. And here's the bigger picture. Meghan Markle has built a reputation for leaning on others and big platforms to support the life she presents. She did it with the royal family, she did it with UK public support, and now people are saying Australia got pulled into the same pattern.
Platform, this AI platform One Off, where she is an investor. So she's getting 10 to 25% of every sale that she makes through those clothing.
This trip was labeled private, even described that way by her own team. Yet somehow major security resources were still involved. That raised serious questions about who was covering what and why. And people in Australia didn't stay quiet. Over 47,000 signed a petition asking Harry and Meghan to handle their own costs. That's a huge reaction, especially during a time when many families are dealing with rising expenses and tight budgets. To them, this didn't feel right at all. From their perspective, it looked like Meghan flew in, used the setting, took the photos, and left behind a wave of debate. Supporters called it outreach. Critics called it something else entirely. But either way, people noticed. Now, here's where it gets even more talked about. During the tour, Meghan seemed focused on coming across as warm and natural with kids. Easy smiles, soft moments, that kind of energy.
Now 10 years, every day for 10 years, I had been bullied and attacked. And I was the most trolled person in the entire world, man or woman. And I'm still here.
Some online started comparing her style to Catherine, Princess of Wales, saying the vibe felt very familiar. But here's the catch. Kids are hard to impress, and they react in real time. One moment in particular got attention, with a child's reaction sparking tons of online chatter. No interviews, no statements, just a look that had people reading between the lines and drawing their own conclusions. And honestly, that reaction says a lot. So on the final day of the tour, Meghan shows up at Bondi Beach, a place tied to a deeply tragic event where lives were lost and many were hurt. It's the kind of location where people expect quiet respect and real awareness of what happened there. But instead, people noticed something very different. She was smiling, laughing, moving through the area like it was just another stop on the schedule. For many watching, that didn't sit right at all, especially given the weight of the location. Think about it. If most people visited a place connected to a tragedy, the mood would be serious, measured, respectful.
Try to bond with them like I was the most trolled person in the world. You were the most beloved person in the world. You were the most okay. And privileged, the most privileged.
That contrast is exactly why this moment sparked so much conversation online. Then came a sit-down with survivors, including a woman sharing a painful story about protecting her child during the attack. During that moment, viewers started analyzing Meghan's reactions closely, pointing out details like repeated blinking and questioning whether the emotion felt natural or staged. Critics didn't hold back after that. They argued the moment felt off, saying the response didn't match the gravity of what was being shared. Supporters, of course, saw it differently, but the divide was clear. And here's what added even more fuel to the backlash. Just like earlier in the tour, people claimed the outfits worn during this visit were later promoted online. That detail hit hard for critics who felt the setting deserved far more sensitivity than what they saw. Have some shame, Meghan. So between visits to shelters, memorials, and mental health events, she somehow made time to film a guest spot on MasterChef Australia. Let that really sink in for a second. This is someone who already tried a cooking show that didn't land, launched a food product that struggled, and had moments on camera where basic kitchen skills were questioned. And still, one of Australia's biggest cooking shows brought her in as a guest judge, reportedly for around $300,000. Then came the introduction.
They are not working royals. They are not here on the royal agenda. They are here because they are so desperate and deluded and need the money because, of course, Meghan didn't sell enough jam.
And people online had a lot to say. Even a professional chef reacted, calling it a joke, pointing out that MasterChef is supposed to represent real skill and experience. That's where the criticism hit hardest, because many felt Meghan hadn't shown that level of ability in the kitchen. And let's be real, the contestants themselves often have serious training and hands-on experience. The big difference? They don't carry a royal title, and critics argue that's the main thing setting Meghan apart in moments like this. Oh, and the group photo? She's front and center again, which definitely didn't go unnoticed. Then there's the Sydney Wellness Retreat, branded Her Best Life. Tickets went up to $3,200 for a weekend of yoga, sound healing, drinks, and a photo with Meghan herself. It sounds polished, but here's what stood out. Tickets were still available just days before it began. For an event at that price point, people expected a rush, but that didn't quite happen. And for those who did attend, the experience came with tight rules. High security, no phones, no recordings, creating a very controlled environment that only added more buzz to the whole situation.
Harry's now being sued for defamation by the charity he co-founded. And let's be honest, everything and anything that they have touched has been a complete and utter failure.
Can't have paying guests showing what they actually got, right? And then Meghan shows up at 5 p.m. and is gone by 7. That's just 2 hours. People paid around $3,000 and she couldn't even stay for a full evening. And why the quick exit? Not some urgent duty, she left to attend a rugby match. Yes, a match. So guests are sitting there at their own event, and she's already out the door. That detail had people talking non-stop. Now step back for a second. Meghan has spent years shaping an image of being warm, relatable, and compassionate. This tour was supposed to reinforce that. So when she visited Macaulay Community Services for Women, it looked like the perfect moment. Serving food, cameras rolling, everything lined up. But viewers started picking apart the details. The second she handed over a plate, the smile was there. But people claimed her expression shifted quickly after. Some pointed to body language, saying it felt tense or forced, and started questioning whether the moment was genuine. Then came a comment that really stood out. She asked, "How hungry are you?" And that line didn't land well with critics, especially given the setting. For many watching, it felt out of place for a shelter environment. And here's what added even more heat. She arrived wearing high-end jewelry and designer pieces reportedly worth tens of thousands. That contrast, luxury fashion in a space meant for those in need, sparked strong reactions and a wave of debate online. What this tour really looked like, according to critics, wasn't just charity visits or speeches. It felt like a full-on money-making setup. Beneath the polished appearances, the emotional moments, and the big-name events, people started questioning the bigger picture. And then there's the throwback to 2018. When Meghan first arrived in Australia, huge crowds gathered outside the Sydney Opera House just to see her. But reports claimed she reacted with surprise, even saying, "What are they all doing here? It's silly."
So a veteran's wife asking for an appearance fee to tour a war memorial? Go figure, seriously.
That moment stuck with a lot of people. This is someone who had just stepped into global fame, part of one of the most recognized families in the world, yet seemed caught off guard by the attention. That contrast raised eyebrows then, and still does now, and behind the scenes, more claims surfaced. There were reports she questioned why she wasn't being paid for appearances during that time. Even early on, when public support was at its peak, critics say there were already signs she was thinking about turning that spotlight into income. To them, it felt like everything was handed to her, and still, she was looking for more. But back then, it didn't really work out. This time, critics say nothing was holding them back. Deals fell through, projects didn't land the way they hoped, and suddenly the pressure was on. So what happened next? They leaned back into the titles, booked the Australia trip, and got moving. Reports claimed Harry earned around $70,000 for a single speech. Meghan took paid roles like the MasterChef appearance, promoted outfits tied to public visits, and kept the spotlight working in her favor. And then came the big number people kept repeating: $10 million. Not for Australia, but what critics believe the trip generated for Meghan and Harry. Every stop, every appearance, every moment people thought was purely goodwill. Others saw a business angle behind it. To them, this return to Australia wasn't random. It was calculated, polished, and finally profitable in a way it hadn't been before. If you made it this far, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment below.